Let's begin in a child's pose. With your knees as wide as comfortable, big toes together behind you. Walk your hands out long in front of you and rest your forehead and your chest down towards the mat. Let this be the place where you can completely settle in. So if at any point in today's practice, your mind starts wandering off the mat, or you feel overwhelmed in the physical postures, then remember that you can always drop down into child's pose to reset and reconnect, and then join back in whenever you're ready. So from here, let's make our way to downward facing dog. Rise up into a tabletop on your hands and knees. Curl your toes under and reach your hips high and back. Pedal out your legs and press your chest towards your thighs. And right away, let's set up a strong foundation through the hands. So fingers are fanned out wide, and your whole hand is gripping into the mat so your arms are strong. Now take a walk to the top of your mat and hang out in a deep forward fold. Separate your feet a little bit wider than hip distance. A generous bend in your knees will allow you to fold even deeper. And you're welcome to just let your arms hang heavy, your arms overhead, and continue standing tall. Inhale. Exhale to forward fold. Hinge at your hips and lead with your heart as you come all the way down. A soft bend in your knees will help you fold deeper. Next is a halfway lift. Slide your hands up your shins and press your heart forward. Finding a long, flat back. So most people have to pull their shoulders back together behind them. Inhale. Exhale to fold. Plant your hands and step your feet back into a high plank. Remember to use your strong hands gripping your mat. This will protect your wrists throughout the rest of practice. From your high plank, shift your way forward 2 inches. And if this already feels very, very intense, then just lower your knees down to the mat for the modification. We're going to go down into low plank, so everybody lower down halfway until your elbows graze your ribs, and stop there. That's low plank. Oh gosh, it's intense. Let's move on. Upward facing dog. Lift up through your heart and flip to the tops of your feet. So your hands and the tops of your feet are the only things touching the mat. Roll your shoulders open and engage your legs. Big breath in. Exhale, send it back to downward facing dog. Curl your toes under, reach your hips high. Inhale, look up to your hands. Exhale, step your feet to touch at the top of your mat. Halfway lift as you breathe in. Forward fold as you breathe out. Inhale to mountain pose, come all the way up. As you exhale, forward fold, come all the way down. One more halfway lift, inhale. Chaturanga all on your exhale. Plant your hands, step your feet back, lower down halfway. Upward facing dog as you breathe in. The downward facing dog as you breathe out. And when you're ready, reach your right leg high. Inhale. Exhale, step it through to a low lunge. Spin your back heel down and reach your arms overhead for warrior 1. So square your hips off towards the top of your mat. And if it helps, take your hands to your hips, push your right hip back, and pull your left hip forward. Then reach your arms up as you drive through your back heel. Big breath in. As you breathe out, open up into warrior 2. Arms reaching front and back, core is engaged. For reverse triangle, straighten out both legs as you reach your right arm high. Make sure you're not resting in a locked knee though. Have a micro bend in your right knee so your whole leg is engaged. Then keep your legs as they are and hinge from your hips to reach your right arm forward. Then lower your right arm down, left arm high for triangle pose. Similar to extended side angle, use your core, now that it's all fired up, to carry you, to give you some lift in this posture. So it's not about reaching down and touching the ground. Instead, focus on having a nice long flat back here. Lean back into your left shoulder. Core is strong so that you have that lift. 3, 2, 1. Inhale to rise. Then take your hands to your hips and pivot your right toes parallel with your left so you're facing the side of your mat. Exhale to hinge your hips and forward fold. You can use your hands to support you at the bottom. You can experiment with any other posture or variation of this posture for a few deep breaths. A trick here to get more hamstring flexibility from this posture is to shift your weight forward to the ball marks of your feet so that your hips are over your ankles. Do that and you should feel more intensity in your hamstrings. Breathe. 3, 2, 1. Hands to your hips. Inhale to rise. And then settle into Warrior 2 facing the top of your mat. Inhale, reverse warrior, right arm reaches high. Exhale, cartwheel both hands down to the mat. Make your way to down dog, however you'd like to get there. Switching sides. Inhale, reach your left leg high. Exhale, step it through to a low lunge. Spin your back heel down and set up Warrior 1. And remember to keep your hips squared out to the top of your mat. So if it helps, use your hands to adjust your hips. Left hip back, right hip forward. The more you sink into your front leg, the more intense this posture will be. Inhale. Exhale, open up, Warrior 2. Firm up your core. And for reverse triangle, straighten out both legs and reach your left arm high. Make sure there's a tiny little bend in your left knee so the muscles around that knee are engaged. For triangle pose, hinge from your hips as you reach your left arm forward, then lower your left arm down and right arm high. Both sides of your waist are long here, so you're not crunching into your left waist. And lean back into your right shoulder so your whole upper body is spiraling open and leaning back. Remember that there should be some lift in this posture. From here, inhale to rise. Take your hands to your hips, pivot your left toes parallel with your right, facing the side of your mat. This time, interlace your hands behind your lower back. Take a big inhale. Exhale, hinge at your hips and forward fold with a chest expansion. Just let your head hang heavy, let gravity take hold of your arms, and settle into a more static posture as you deepen your breath. And if you're feeling grounded here, try shifting some more weight to the palms of your feet to open up your hamstrings. To come out, release your hands to your lower back, then inhale to rise. Exhale, settle into Warrior 2, facing the front of your mat, then reverse warrior. Inhale, reach your left arm high. Exhale, cartwheel both hands down to the mat for chaturanga, high to low plank. For upward facing dog, inhale. Exhale, send it back, downward facing dog. And when you're ready, reach your right leg high. Inhale. Exhale, step it through to a low lunge. For crescent lunge, reach your arms overhead. Sink into your back heel. Sink into your right thigh. Bring your hands together at heart center. Big inhale. Exhale, twist to your right. Hook your left elbow outside of your right knee and set your gaze on one spot. Deepen your breath and lift your belly off your thighs so you can twist even deeper. For 3, 2, 1. Lower both hands down to the mat and side of your right ankle for a runner's lunge. Find the variation of runner's lunge that serves you best in this moment. And if you have hurdlers in your practice, feel free to play around in hurdler's pose. An arm balance that requires a lot of core strength, upper body strength, and hip flexibility. I'll link a quick how-to video in the description, so if you want to pause and play, then do so now. Otherwise, just hang out and deepen your breath so much that you can feel this breath in your belly, in your base, in your legs. For about 5 more breaths. Almost there. Then take your time as you make your way back to your downward facing dog. And let's switch sides. Inhale, reach your left leg high. Exhale, step it through to a low lunge. For crescent lunge, reach your arms overhead and sink into your hips. Drive through your back heel. Soften through your shoulders. Then bring your hands together at heart center. Big inhale, lift up to your heart. As you exhale, twist to your left. Hook your right elbow outside of your left knee. Peel your belly up off your thigh and twist even deeper. Breathing in and out through your nose. For 3, 2, 1. Lower both hands inside your front ankle and find your runner's lunge or your hurdler's practice. If you did so on the other side, then pause and play. Otherwise, in your runner's lunge, let gravity take hold. Let your head hang heavy. Relax your jaw, relax your shoulders. And deepen your breath simply by deepening your exhales. We'll be here for a few more smooth, deep breaths. Stay calm. Release any unnecessary tension. And we're here for 3, 2, 1. Take your time as you make your way back to downward facing dog. And let's set up a half pigeon. Bring your right knee to your right wrist, your right ankle towards your left wrist, and sink into your hips. And remember that it's most important that your hips are squared off to the top of your mat. Walk your hands up towards your hips. Take a big breath in to puff up through your chest. Then as you breathe out, slowly walk your hands forward, knowing that eventually you can lower down to your forearms or even forehead down to the mat. On your exhales, release even more air than you normally would, making space for a deeper inhale. And as your breath deepens, relax any flexing, gripping, or tensing, whether it's in your hands, shoulders, jaw, or hips. Allow yourself to settle in here, completely relaxed. One more big breath in, and big breath out. Take your time as you slowly rise. Plant your hands on the mat, curl your back toes under, and reach your right leg high into that 3-legged downward facing dog. Then bend your knees, sink your heel towards your glute. Just hang out here, opening up your hips, or gracefully and gently catch yourself in a flip dog. Then let's all meet up in downward facing dog once more. Switching sides. Bring your left knee to your left wrist, left ankle towards your right wrist. Sink into your hips and make sure that your hips are square and even. Then walk your hands up towards your hips. Take a big inhale, puff up through your chest. Then as you exhale, take your time as you slowly surrender down towards the mat. This can be a very intense hip opening posture. If you've gone so far that you can't help but tense up in this pose, then you've gone too far. So back out and find the place where you can relax physically and mentally. And trust that over time and with practice, you'll go deeper. So relax. Take a scan of the body. Soften everything you don't need. And see if your intention applies even here. See if you can relax a little deeper. Take one last big breath in, and big breath out. And walk your hands back up onto the mat. Curl your back toes under and reach your left leg high for your 3-leg down dog. Bend your knees, sink your heel, open up your hips, and hang out here, or mindfully catch yourself in foot dog. Then take your time as you make your way back to downward facing dog. and lower down to your knees and come to stand on your knees for a camel pose. Take your hands to your lower back and scoop your tailbone down and forward so that your lower back flattens out and your lower belly engages. Keep your hips above your knees the whole time and lift up through your heart. Big inhale. Exhale, slowly lean back into a gentle back bend. And this can be where you stay and breathe, because this is a back bend. But if you're feeling flexible today, then try reaching your right hand back to grab onto your right heel, and then your left hand back to grab onto your left heel. Press your hips forward, lift up through your heart. You're in control. Take about 3 deep breaths. Take your hands back to your hips. Take a seat on your heels. Hands in your lap for hero pose. Gently close your eyes and find the breath that grounds you. Now gently blink your eyes open. Plant your hands on the mat and make your way back to your last down dog of the practice. And notice any difference in sensation between this down dog and the first down dog. Then take a walk to the top of your mat for gorilla pose, a deep forward fold where we stand on our hands. So bend your knees as much as you need to, and one at a time slide your palms underneath your feet, palms facing up. And you want to go so far that your toes come all the way up to your wrists. The key here is that you are pushing weight into your hands, squashing the blood, the fluid, the tendons, the muscles, the bones in your hands. And all that compression should feel really good, especially all those chaturangas we did today. So wiggle out your toes, shift your weight side to side, give yourself a little massage. And then when you're ready, just release your hands and shake them out. Then take a seat on your mat. With your feet flat, knees bent, press your inner thighs together. Lift up through your heart, reach your arms forward, palms facing up, and begin to lean back, slowly lowering down onto your back, one vertebra at a time. So gently close your eyes and soften your eyelids. Relax the space between your brows and at the corners of your eyes. Allow your jaw to release. And your tongue can fall away from the roof of your mouth. And feel your whole body follow in complete relaxation as your breath becomes effortless and smooth. We'll be here for 1 full minute in total silence. Just relax and appreciate all the sensations that come up in this pose. If you're ready to come up now, first invite some movement into your toes and feet, into your fingers and wrists. Then reach your arms overhead, take a long body stretch. Big inhale. As you exhale, draw your knees in and roll over onto one side into a fetal position. Use your hands to bring yourself up to seated. Then bring your hands together at heart center. Namaste.